What's up? What's up? What's up, good people? What's up, good people? You are now in the No Judgment Zone with yours truly, Sean Taylor, discussing topics with no judgments, discussing topics with no judgments. To all the places that I'm streaming right now, Twitter, Twitch, um, YouTube channel, No Judgment Zone, uh, personal Facebook, business Facebook page, uh, private group for imperfect, non-judgmental people and remembrance of my mother. To all the places I'm streaming. Thanks for everybody who's going to be tuning in, who will watch this at some point. And please leave your comments, and I will definitely respond to your comments too as well. So you're now in the No Judgment Zone, discussing topics with no judgments. This is pretty much just, uh, to be honest, just raw, straight off the dome, unscripted. Uh, it's a non-debatable. It's a no judgment zone. It's not judging anything. Just talk. Just pretty much expounding on topics with no judgments at all. Just talking about it. I mean, pretty much your thoughts or whatever. If you like something, you like something. If you don't, you don't. I mean, it's just one of those things. It's not my place to judge you or anything of that nature. That's just where I'm at with the whole situation. But the title of this is pretty much illusions. I used a picture about society has become so fake that the truth actually bothers people. So I put that also in the illustration too as well. And it's just something on simplistic truth. And I tell people this all the time. I used to lie so much, but being on the other side of truth, it seems like um, which is crazy. I mean, this is just my outlook on it, my personal outlook on it. Again, we all have opinions of what we feel and how we view something based off of how we view it and our perception of it. It doesn't make nobody right or wrong. That's just how that person sees it. Unless somebody can other break down another side. See, I'm always open minded to listen to how people feel about different topics because I may think one way and then I hear somebody else have another perspective of it. And I'm like, oh man, I never thought of it that way. And that's what's being open minded is about, opposed to just being closed minded and feeling as if your way is the highway type deal. I don't think that no one has every rhyme. I mean, there's a perfect formula to anything or perfect answer to anything. It's just on personal. For me, it's my personal experiences. It's the things that I've lived and what I've gone through that pretty much brings my perspective to the forefront. Not me just speculating on something I haven't even experienced. I always say to speak on something that you not have went through or gone through or experienced. It makes you a liar. So when it comes to matters of the heart, loss, grief, death, jail, the things I've done for cheating, lying, using, manipulating, selling drugs, just being a womanizer, all these different type of things, and uh, I, I can't sit here and just talk about something I have not gone through. And so when you go through something, you actually lived it. So your thought process on the pretty much the subject is going to be different for somebody who's not went through it. And I think the problem in the world is you got people who have lived these experiences in life, all these different type of experiences in life, so they feel strongly about it. Sometimes something within may trigger them, or they feel this in their heart and their mind because they lived it. It's a different thought process. It's a different emotion. It's a different feeling when you have experienced a thing, you have lived a thing, you've gone through it, opposed to someone on the outside looking inwardly. That's their opinion. Your opinion doesn't mean nothing to a person who's actually lived an experience. Your opinion doesn't mean nothing to a person who's actually gone through that, who suffered through that pain or a reward, a gain. It's your opinion. That's you're the outside looking in. You're the person that's coming to the game, yelling at the person that's making millions and millions of dollars based off of his talent and or whatever he or she has done. And you're on the sidelines. You don't like them because of what? You don't like them for what you perceive or what mistakes they may have done in the media, whatever the case may be. So for me, And I was sharing this with a friend of mine, and I was just letting them know, for somebody who doesn't know me, how they feel about me is not going to affect me. It's just not. They don't know me. I have no history with them. But then there's a best friend I've been best friend with over 20 years, or my blood brother, who's been my brother all my life. If they say something out of pocket against me, or if they, for some reason, we got unresolved issues and bad blood and we stop communicating, that's going to affect me because I got history with these people. And that's why I tell people, my mom used to always tell me, you have to block out the noise. Why are you even concerned with people's opinions that don't even know you? How does that affect you at all? How does that bother you? So it hits differently. And people have fears of illusions. Fear is an illusion that we make real based off our thought process on that subject. Let me repeat that. Fear is an illusion. Fear is an illusion that we make real based off our thought process on that particular subject. You make that fear real, but fear is born an illusion. It is not real. It becomes real once you believe it. Now, it went from the embryo stage as just a thought. Now that thought has become a whole real thing from the embryo stage into life because now you believe in it. Once you believe in a fear, you're afraid to take a risk. Once you believe in a fear, you're afraid to take a chance. Once you believe in a fear, you're going to hesitate before you jump. You ain't even going to jump because you're going to be fearful of the jump. What a fear does, fear keeps you stagnant. Fear keeps you in place. Fear keeps you sheltered. Fear keeps you, it keeps you stuck. Fear keeps you stuck. And you probably have had a lot of wonderful things that you've missed out on because of fear. Fear keeps people from giving a person a second chance. Fear keeps people from giving people a chance for redemption. Fear keeps people from not fighting for or working toward working beyond the problem. And so my mom used to tell me, when I went through breakups and stuff, and whatever the case may be, she said, Sean, try not to beat people up so much if you didn't get a second chance for redemption or whatever the case may be. And I couldn't understand that concept. I couldn't even understand her thought process on that. And she said, I'm going to tell you why. That person could love you to death, but they're so fearful of what they've gone through previously. That fear is holding that person back. Now, they've succumbed to it, obviously, because they're not going to give that person a chance for redemption, or then they're going to be totally unforgiving for the rest of their life toward this person, or whatever the case may be because of that fear. And that's a sad way to live. But they live in that way because they've always been in fear. Fear will have you mess up on a job opportunity that can be life-changing for you because you're complacent in the place that you've always been. You're in a realm of comfort. And when you're comfortable, fear puts in your head that if you do that, you're going to be uncomfortable all throughout the process from beginning to end. Fear. So now fear has you in prison over a job opportunity because you feel comfortable where you are. Fear is something that it keeps so much away from us. So we have to understand that fear is an illusion. It only becomes real once we believe it. Do not succumb to your fears. And there's other nouns and and different verbiages of fear and what it does. And I get that fear is it can protect you from doing something dangerous. I get all that, but fear also keeps people in prison on the possibilities of something better. Fear on the other side of fear is so much positive change. But you got to get to that other side. You got to beat fear down. You can't be afraid of it because it's going to keep you in the same place because you feel comfortable. Like there's reward through growth, but you can't grow because you're such in a comfortable place because of your fear. You're afraid of the possibilities. You're afraid of failing. That's why I think I heard Denzel Washington say, man, fail and fail again. Fail big. Fail big. The first time I started trying to do personal training on my own as a business, I failed. And I failed big. So I went back to the lab and went back to my craft and I practiced it and I went and learned and I went and worked for a company that was the best company I've ever seen. They're the only fitness company that's on Wall Street, and that's Lifetime Fitness in Texas. And I tell people this story all the time. I'm tons of friends in the health and fitness industry and stuff like that, and they say, man, you get on with that company, that means you know your stuff because they only hire the best of the best. They're very strategic in their approach and they're very methodical in their moves. They make chess moves. They never make checkers moves, and that's why that company is on Wall Street. It's a $1 billion conglomerate. That's why they're on Wall Street. So you get on Wall Street by making chess moves, not checkers, and you could be making some other moves that maybe you should or shouldn't do. I mean, who knows? It's not my place to judge. But make a long story short, man, I went back to my craft and I went and learned more things. I went and got more things into my mental Rolodex, and I learned about more. I wanted to learn more about business to start and how businesses started. My brother's got his MBA. I ain't got no MBA. I don't know nothing about business. So, I've talked to my brother about business, but what do I know? I ain't got no business degree. So my whole thing about it is when it comes to business, is you got to go back to school and you got to learn about business. You got to learn about being more structured, more organized, more strategic in your approach. Have a schedule that if you got things to do, you manipulate it. You do whatever you got to do when it comes to that. So I failed. I failed the first time. And then when I went back into my craft and got better and learned from it, I said, you know what? And then I went and I worked out of a studio where I was paying Sergey rent, and I learned so many things from him and how he ran his business. So now the whole thing, the process is, and that's why I tell people, every day in life you in school, baby. But if you're not retaining what's being in front of you, how can you know how to do it or to put your own twists and turns on it because you're afraid? And even though I failed in business the first time, I now went back and I was like, you know what, I'm going to study my craft. But then again, I wanted to get around more people who were better than me or more successful than me so I can learn from. Then I can incorporate theirs or put my own, flip my switch on. And I learned a lot from Sergey, man. I learned a hell of a lot. Dude is methodical. His schedule is boom, boom. He ran his place, man. Learned so much. And I put the positive things I learned from Sergey into my business. And it runs the way it should. But I bounce other ideas off other people in the fitness industry. My best friend, my little brother Brandon Floyd, man, we bounce ideas off each other all the time, man. Great mind, smart brother. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be afraid to um, you can't be afraid not to know everything. You cannot be afraid not to know everything. You can't be afraid to be humble sometimes. You can't be afraid to be meek sometimes. You can't be afraid to render yourself vulnerable, thinking everybody's going to come after you or do something to you or try to get something out of you. You can't be afraid to let go. Can't be afraid to let go of those things that happened to you as a kid. You know what I'm saying? If you was molested as a child, or you were raped or whatever the case may be. I know about these things, man. You can't be afraid to let these things go. These things that hover over your mind and make me feel like make you feel less of a woman and make you feel less of a man. You can't be afraid to let go. You can't be afraid to let go of your past because you are so comfortable because you're so familiar with it. You can't be afraid for something new, you know? And it's risk every day. It's risk versus reward. It's risk every day. Even though you come out that it's risk every day. You walk out that door, it's no guarantee you coming home. So if you're doing that risk every day, don't be afraid to do that risk in other things in your life. If you got something, you got a burning passion in your heart about something, don't be afraid. Expound on it. Whatever dream that you have in your heart that you want to follow, just go ahead and do it. Try it. At least you know on your last days of this earth, and you know you're about to turn a corner and you're about to experience a new path in the afterlife. At least you know while you was on earth, you truly lived. You wasn't one of those people who existed. You did you it, you know it, I get the fear thing. There's things in life I've been afraid of, but I've overcame those because I know I'm stronger than fear, and I don't want to live in fear. I'm a risk taker. I love motorcycles. I love fast things, tattoos, piercings. That's the type of dude I am. You know what I'm saying? I would say I'm a pretty eccentric type dude. I may have started out one way, but once I traveled the world and saw new things, once I got more in tune with my own sexual prowess as a guy, once I got into not being afraid to explore things mentally, sexually, physically, um, psychologically. Once I got put Sean out of a box, where I'm like, okay, start being more non-judgmental opposed to being judgmental. I start to grow and grow and grow. And to be eccentric, that means you're pretty much of a Renaissance type person. That means you got a gazillion layers to you. You're not just a person who just listens to R&B music. You're not afraid to listen to a little rock. You're not afraid to listen to a little pop, a little 80s. You're not afraid to listen to a little rap. You're not afraid to listen to a little country, a little Latin music. You're not afraid to try Latin dances. You're not afraid to try reggae dances. You're not afraid to try ballroom dances. You start to open up. And so once you start to open up and once you travel the world, you become more eccentric. You become more well-rounded. You become more educated of the world in itself and the history of this world. Now you're eccentric. There's so many different layers to you. You don't want to dress like everybody else or talk like everybody else or act like everybody else. You want to create your own personal trend. See, creativity is something that's just created from the mind. Again, going back to the embryo stage, you create that thing from nothing into something. Creativity is beautiful. That's art. Creativity is art. Creativity is art like everything else, but you can't be afraid to express yourself artistically. You shouldn't be afraid to express yourself artistically. You shouldn't be able to express yourself psychologically. You shouldn't be afraid to express yourself sexually. You shouldn't be afraid to express yourself emotionally. You should never be afraid of self-expression. Again, fear is nothing but an illusion. And fellas, let me tell you something, man. Don't live from that adequate space, man, that the society tries to put you in. See, real men are well-rounded. They know a little bit of everything. You see what I'm saying? As you get older, once you start to grasp between 35 and 50, man, you should know so much stuff. You should learn how to speak more than one language. I damn near speak German fluently, but I was over there forever and a day. So my thing about it is that you can't be afraid to learn, and you can't be afraid from that illusion to unlearn old bad habits and old bad behavior. It's like I had the fuck racism shirt on, and I put about racism how it's from a derived place of ignorance. But one can always unlearn bad habits. You can't be afraid to unlearn bad habits. I said it once and I'll say it again, growing up, me and my brother, we grew up with a lot of things, but my mom did whatever she needed to do with the little resources that she had at that time. And as a man, you grow up and you see things and you start to learn how the world really works, and you learn the system, and you learn about government, and you learn about how different sides of town on every different state you live on. You go on the north side, it looks different. The south side, it looks different. The east side, the west side, it looks different. You start to really learn outside of you start to unlearn those old habits that you grew up in. My mother also used to say a thing, just because you think you're right doesn't necessarily mean that you are actually right. And there's something so powerful in that short statement. And a lot of people think they're right all the time. Just because you think you're right, sir, but just because you think you're right, ma'am, doesn't necessarily mean that you're right. We hurt people, we use people, we manipulate people just because we think we're right. I've done it. Just because I think I'm right, and I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one. I'm gonna be that stubborn. I'm gonna be that ignorant, and I'm gonna hurt somebody because I just want to be right. I'm gonna dog somebody out because I just want to be right. I'm gonna take someone for granted just because I want to be right. I'm gonna verbally abuse somebody because I want to be right. I may not have physically abused no woman, but I know I verbally abused a lot of them. I know I did. It ain't nothing to be, that is nothing to brag about. There's nothing to be proud about, or whatever the case may be. But I know I did that. And verbal abuse is just as worse as physical abuse. On any scale, there's plenty of women that verbally abuse men every day and don't have a millisecond to think about it. But in their mind, they think that they're right. They think they're the victims or whatever. How many men have you verbally abused? How many men, ladies, have you verbally abused? You're just as worse as a physical abuser. And see, that's my whole thing is like, I know I'm fucked up. And I know I've done a lot of shitty things in my life. So the karma that's came in my life, I made that life. I'm not going to sit up here and feel sorry for myself. I'm going to go through my shit. I'm going to own my shit. But I'm not a man that fucks up and just like, act like I didn't do anything and then justify the wrong that I did. You can't justify wrong, man. If you fucked up, you just fucked up. Just own your shit and just keep it moving. If you go to a person to try to rectify the issue and tell you're sorry and try to get a sense of redemption from this individual, and if they choose not to do it, now it's their problem. Now you can sleep at peace at night because they didn't come to you. You was man enough to go to them, or you a woman enough to come to them, and they didn't choose to do it. So you chose the mature way and you went to them. And it's very hard to go to people and try to talk to them and try to rekindle things and try to get a sense of reconciliation or whatever, and they choose not to, and they kind of shit on your apology and and all that stuff. You know how people do, they shit and piss on you for apology and ask you when you ask for forgiveness. That's what they do. Now you got to wash your hands with the matter. And you got to keep moving forward. Now they got the problem. Now the big man upstairs, he got your back because you've done everything in the right way. Now they on the island by themselves because they got this illusion in their mind. They just want to be right. Yes, they was done wrong, but in this life and in this world, the world The people don't understand the whole world works off of reciprocity too. What you give out there in the universe and in the world, it's going to come back to you in some type of shape or form. We all reap what we sow. That's a real thing. That reaping and sowing is a real thing. Even when you think that you're justified to do something just because you've been wrong, you're going to have to reap that. You sow that, you're going to have to reap that. You sow that bad attitude, you're going to have to reap that in return. You sow that unforgiveness, you have to reap that in return. It's just a part of life, man. And it just pays. When people do certain things, you just fall back. My mother always told me, know why you always gonna get blessed long term, Sean, because you fight so hard in your older life not to retaliate like you used to do all the time in your younger life. So you're gonna reap the reward from that. But you are fighting that demon. That's a big demon inside you because you want people to feel the pain that they've dished out to you. You want to get some get back and humiliation and embarrassment on them. You want to destroy their lives, and you fight that demon and you fight that devil every day. Oh, Lord Jesus, good God Almighty, go I fight it. But it's not even worth it at the end of the day. And that's what I tell everybody, man. People gonna do you wrong. You know, I've had people come in, sign up, man, and I could have got them. I could have screwed up their credit and all that stuff, and you know they hide and lie and break. You know, train almost train a month and then train another month for free, and their payment come up, and then they change the cards and all that other stuff, and you know, I could easily find them. Back in the day, I'd be at the door. You know, back in the day, I'd have done something real nasty and dirty to them. But it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's not worth it. You know, life, you know, none of us can skip by life because we got to live it. Let me repeat that. None of us can escape from life because we have to live it. So life always renders back what you've dished out. It's coming. Life always renders back what you dish out. Life always renders back what you dish out. So it's coming. So those illusions, a lot of illusions out there, they do become real once you believe them. So that's why it's very important to not to succumb to fear, but to understand you want to live fearlessly. When you live fearlessly, you have a sense of spontaneity in you. You just do something and I mean, that's exciting. That's like an adrenaline rush. You know what I'm saying? But you don't want to be afraid to take chances because that's what living is about. You want to live or do you just want to exist? You know, that's what, to me, true living is all about. I don't want to exist. I want to live, man. I want to live. I want to do everything I was told I couldn't do. I want to do everything I maybe thought I wouldn't do. And I want to do everything, man, that's going to be fulfilling. So, you know, I mean, that's living. I'm not going to succumb to these fears of failure. You can't. And just because just because something looks hard, yeah, something looks hard can be scary. Something you failed at once, or maybe failed at twice, or maybe failed at 3 times, and you go on and try the 4th time, it can be a little bit scary. But you got to keep going, man. You can't quit on yourself, and you can't quit on life. You know, death of someone that you truly love will make you want to quit. But then on the flip side, you also got to think, how would that person, when you knew them in the living, what would they say about how you're acting now in the present? You know their personality. You know them as a man or woman. You know their thought process. What would they be saying to you and how you're acting right now if they was alive to look at you? What would they say? They will encourage you. They will never tell you to throw in the towel. They'll tell you to turn that frown upside down. They'll tell you have a better attitude. They'll tell you to start being appreciative of life for what you have, opposed to what you no longer have. They will be telling you those. They will be having those tough conversations of things that you need to know. And it'll be all coming from a place of truth. Now they're not built like this new age society where it's sensitive to the truth now. They not with that. They're old school. So they not on that society crap. They ain't on that fake stuff. Because I like to call the older people like my mom and my uncle and my aunties the originals. You know what I'm saying? So they from the school of hard knocks. So that's one thing I can appreciate from old school. They're from the school of old hard knocks to where they ain't deal with this fake society right now. They ain't deal with the, getting in their feelings over the truth. You man up and you deal with that. You deal with that truth because you're gonna get better from the truth. How do you get better from lies? I mean, if you can break that down to me as I was 2 years old, where I can understand it, I'll shut the hell up. But how do you benefit off lies? Where's the growth from lies? Where's the growth from even being passive, for that matter? So we have an issue before us, but we're gonna act like we're gonna deflect and act like the issue is not there. We're not going to discuss how we can rectify this problem. In truth, now, all the cards are on the table. So we're not going to conversate about this. We're going to act like this is not happening. Society has become so fake that the truth actually bothers people. And what's ironic by that statement is that these are the same people who get mad when you lie to them. It's such hypocritical and it's so condescending, and it just makes no sense at all. So you want people to tell you the truth, but you don't like the truth. But then again, you get mad when somebody lied to you. But then you get mad at the truth too as well. There's such a catch-22 with people out here. And that's the part that is pretty much crazy. It's such a catch-22 out here. And it doesn't make any sense. Fear is nothing but an unpleasant emotion. Because I put it down. Fear is an unpleasant emotion caused by belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. Sometimes we are afraid of things that's not even there. I know I've done it. I know I've done wrong and thought that one time, and sometimes I've jumped the gun and assumed, and they be like, "What the heck are you talking about?" Because fear plays tricks on your mind too as well. It paints illusions that's not even there. That's why I say fear is an illusion. Sometimes people have messed up or whatever case may be. You'll tell on yourself because you have jumped the gun based off of this person's acting this way and there's nothing really going on. Fear just sets you up to tell on yourself. Now they know what's going on because you've been living in fear. But here's the thing, man. Double lies I've lived before. So you're always afraid of getting caught up in this and caught up in that, whatever. But my thing about it is that when you no longer have to live in fear about a thing, see, when you stop living in fear, the number one thing, when you stop living in fear, you stop worrying about the whole world and what it thinks of you. People who worry about what people think live in fear. Think about it now. Think about it. To be fearless, that means you don't care. But to have fear, that means you do care. People are afraid of what everybody thinks of them. That's why they move like they play checkers all the time. People who are fearless, they play in chess. They're very strategic. They don't care, but they're thinkers. See, when you're fearless, you don't care. But when you have fear, you do care. You worry. You have high anxiety. You're always thinking about what people are saying about you, what they're sniggling and griggling about you. You're always thinking, oh man, they're going to talk about me because I done gained some weight. Oh, they're going to talk about me because my car got repoed. I lost my job. They're gonna talk about me. Oh man, this dude then left me with all these kids. You know, he slept with my sister, my best friend, my cousin, whatever the case may be. See, a person who is fearless, they don't care about what you say anyway. They don't care. It doesn't bother me. It's like water rolling down a duck's back. See, the minute you stop caring about what people think of you is the minute that's the minute you are going to be free. And see, when you care about what people think of you, you become trendy. You come doing everything like everybody else, like a clone, like a robot. There's nothing amazing about you because I tell people all the time. People say, Sean, you have a somebody told me just yesterday. No, not yesterday. Was it yesterday? What's today? Saturday, Friday, Thursday. Somebody told me you have an unorthodox way of thinking in such a good way. And I was like, never heard that one before. You just really got a way of how you see things the way you see them. Yeah. That's life experiences, death, self-examination of myself and the things I've done and the people I've hurt in the past. It just makes you see life how it really is. Now, not everybody's going to be able to take you. Not everybody's going to be able to get you or to even understand you. For a person to understand you, it takes time. A lot of people got a microwave mentality. They're very impatient, so they won't have time to take the time to understand people because we live in such a microwave mentality type world because people are so impatient. That's just how it is. But you got to take time to understand somebody and have the patience to understand somebody to really get to know them and to see, how they gel. But you got to become fearless to do that. You can't. You gotta lose. You gotta let go of your fear. Fear is holding you back from so many amazing things and opportunities, and you're living in fear, and that's sad. That's a sad way to live, man. It's a sad way to live, but people live that way every day. But it is what it is. Hopefully they'll grow out of it. Who knows? Who knows? But fear is not real, people. It's an illusion. You make it real once you believe it. So think about all the fears in your life right now. How are those fears alive in your life? You birthed them. You created them. Now they're in your life. But you created those fears. You created those fears. And you gotta change that. You gotta change that. And you can. You can. You can change that. You definitely can change that. But what are you gonna do? Are you gonna change it? Or are you gonna keep succumbing to it? Are you gonna change it, or are you gonna keep succumbing to it? That's only an answer you can give. But your fears are nothing but illusions. You can destroy those illusions by not believing them. That's all you got to do. You can destroy all those fears that you created that are illusions. You can destroy those fears by discontinuing believing them. Just discontinue. Just unsubscribe to that service, man. Cancel that subscription. Cancel that subscription to them illusions, them fears. Just cancel the subscription. You know what I'm saying? Delete your card. I mean, they ain't got to get, you ain't got to pay them every month. You don't owe, now the illusions are gone. Now you can take your life back. But the only way you're going to have your life back is have to have a sense of fearlessness. You have to. Until then, you're always going to worry about what people think, and you're always going to base your moves based on public perception and your decisions that you make. You can't even think for yourself, and that's sad. If you're a grown man and grown woman out here who can't think for themselves, that's very sad. If you're living your life based off of what your family think, that's sad. If your friends think based off what social media thinks, that's very, very sad. That means other people are pulling your strings, and you ain't even living your own life. Other people are living your life for you because they're telling you what to do, and you're following it. Fear is an illusion, people. It only becomes real if you believe it. You got to understand that, get that, and feel that. Fear is an illusion. It only becomes real once you believe it. Listen, we got a great summertime special going on right now. Um, Next week, I'm going to kick off Monday Memorial Week special for veterans and active military and their families, spouses, children, whatever. It'll be all week long starting on Monday. I'll post that on Monday. So that's pretty much it, man. I hope somebody got some out of it. Leave your comments. I will definitely respond to them. Thanks for everybody who's subscribing. You can go to my YouTube channel, the No Judgment Zone, and subscribe. Please, I definitely would appreciate it. That would be some serious love. And then that's pretty much it, man. Eat to live this weekend, don't live to eat. Remember Monday's coming around the corner. And like I always say, I'll start judging people once I'm put to since his brothers in no danger of becoming perfect. You'll never have to worry about Sean Taylor ever judging you, man. Y'all stay up, man. And remember, fear is an illusion. It only becomes real once you believe it. That's it. Catch you on the flip. Peace.